Ladies and gentlemen, draw near and lend me your ear, and I'll acquaint you with the Constitution of the United States of America. It's called We the People. Are you the people?
Yes. No. Thank you.
The three most important words in the preamble to the Constitution. The delegates to the Second Continental Congress created a document like no other in the history of man. This document was the result of the genius of James Madison and three major contributors from the Age of Enlightenment, notably John Locke, Charles Montesquieu, and Jean Rousseau. The basic premise of all three writers was, we the people. So how did we arrive at the finished product? It took several months of debate, in a room that was sealed from the outside world because of the need of secrecy and to keep the flies and mosquitoes outside during a summer that was the hottest on record. Needless to say, the tempers of the delegates were sometimes short and hot. So on September 17th, 1787, the final draft was submitted for signature. And I had the honor, as president of the convention, to be the first signer. As a result of our work, the United States of America became a republic, which translated into a country of the people. The Constitution is a direct emanation from the people themselves. It is to serve their will. The national government it creates and the individual states it discusses are servants to the people. The Constitution has its purpose the creation of a more perfect union, to establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, and promote the general welfare of our posterity. This document applied to the generation of 1787 and all future generations. Therefore, each of us, we the people, is a creator of the Constitution of our day. So in May of 1787, we began the task of creating a new form of government. An experiment that some said that was doomed to failure. We wound up with four major problems. We had to scrap the Articles of Confederation as they were hopelessly weak. Second, Madison and others favored a strong central government, while the rest, mostly Southerners, favored states' rights. The next problem was slavery. We argued over that for weeks. The slavery debate was postponed for 20 years. Had we not done this, the Southern states would have seceded immediately. Our job was to hold the Union together. The final problem was representation. The small states wanted equal representation with the larger states. New York, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, and Virginia had the largest populations. So we compromised and created the House of Representatives according to population and the Senate with equal representation. The Virginia Plan was presented by 35-year-old James Madison. I supported it unconditionally. The 15 resolutions of the Virginia Plan mapped out a supreme national government that would derive its powers from the consent of the people. The Virginia Plan was radical. It had never been attempted before in the history of man. After much heated debate, it was adopted unanimously. It is worth noting that following the signing of that piece of work, we all adjourned to the city tavern and celebrated with copious amounts of alcohol. And I believe there was also a sideboard of food present to satisfy our hunger. The next day I began my trip back to Mount Vernon and Martha. Over the last 10 years, we had been separated for so long that I couldn't wait to put an end to this misery. At that point, I had no idea what was in store for Martha and I. As you know, I was unanimously elected President of the United States, and for the next 8 years, we served our country with pride. Now, shortly after ratification by the several states, Madison included the Bill of Rights. So remember, there are 4 pillars included in our Constitution: the preamble, articles, Bill of Rights, and amendments. This was the work of men that had never formed a government before. This was a great experiment, and we sincerely hoped and prayed that it would survive down through the ages. We felt that the addition of future amendments would help secure its longevity. And finally, we Americans bested the greatest army in the world to seek liberty and freedom. This newfound liberty and freedom are now guaranteed by a piece of parchment with words that, in my opinion, will change the world and will ultimately make the United States of America the greatest and most influential country in the world. Our job is to protect this document from enemies within and without, and let our children be taught the history of this precious document and the blood, sweat, and tears that poured onto this hallowed ground in order to achieve this glorious republic of ours. And my fellow Americans, the founders of this nation had a fundamental belief in Almighty God. And this, coupled with their ability to improvise and create something that had not been done before in the history of the world, began a nation of improvisers that has made us great. These founders were idealistic and they were young. We had no money, no navy, and no real army. There wasn't a bank in the entire country. There was but one bridge between New York and Boston. It was a little country of 2,500,000 people, of whom 500,000 were held in slavery. As you know, we had our problems, but with the work of dedicated men and women and the intervention of Almighty God, we overcame our misfortunes and grew and multiplied and became the envy of the world. And ladies and gentlemen, we gave you the tools to work with. Use them wisely, and remember that to know our history today, or rather I should say, to know our history is to grow today and thrive in our tomorrows. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.